Everyone. Thank you for the patience. We're a little bit behind schedule, but we'll sharpen our pencils up here and get going. So Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting today, December 9th, 2025, called to order at 10:08. I'd like to do the land acknowledgement. So as we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Deputy Clerk Wright, can we have the roll call, please?
Thank you. Chair Sobalski?
Present.
Erica Edmansky?
Present.
Councillor McWhirter?
Present.
Christina Oulet? John Pohl? Lisa Vincent?
Present.
Lori Wickesher?
Present.
Chair, we do have quorum.
Thank you very much. Any declaration of interest? Today's agenda? Seeing none. Okay, we're going to move into some presentations. We got a few. With us today, we have Kim Drake from Algonquin College. She's going to be giving us something on supporting post-secondary educational in rural communities. So I'll pass it over to you, Kim. If,
Okay, I'll sit.
yeah,
If you push the red button.
yeah, that's
You'll
good.
put the PowerPoint on? You're not used to having an assistant. Hi, I'm Kim Drake. I am the business coordinator from the Algonquin College campus in Pembroke. And I'm here to talk about how we have some programs that support economic development, the importance of business education in a rural community, and looking for support or questions on how we can get the area and the students coming up through the high school system and people who are maybe looking for new careers more tuned into the business as a potential option in education. The government's definitely putting a lot of emphasis on trades and the healthcare, which are very much needed in this community and most of Canada because of our demographics. But the business, without business students or graduates, we are the ones who kind of do the support. I mean, government, municipalities, things like that need them. So trying to just get the word out better about business education, trying to get parents better educated about business education for their children. And as I said, just what we can do with the business education. And so I have a PowerPoint presentation. And I have an assistant, so thank you, Sarah. Sarah and I work together at Algonquin College, so we're comfortable. So we do have two programs at the Pembroke campus. We do have a diploma option, which has been around for forever, as far as I know. It is also has a co-op option in the summertime, so if there's businesses that are interested in having a student. I know many government positions offer summer student positions because of a funding pocket that they get. We can do that as well as co-op, which is basically meant to get the students' education experience, but also to get business owners a chance to get someone in. It is a 4-month option so that they have them for a period of time. I've never had a complaint about a business student. They're exceptional. People are actually amazed at all the skills they have by that point. So if you do have businesses, I know this is an economic development committee that would benefit from something like that. We do have that in the summer months. So just so you see sort of the way it lays out quickly, we have fall. It is an accelerated program, so all the other business diploma programs, give or take, are offered in a 4-term format, so 6 courses a term. We've always offered it, well, for probably the last 15, 20 years in an accelerated format, so we do 3 terms with 8 courses a term. Accelerated is a heavier workload. It does get them out faster, and in my experience, I find that the busier students they tend to do better because it's like a full-time job, right? So we do have 8 courses in the fall. They come back for 8 courses in the winter. The summer they're off, so they can either come into the co-op option, take a summer student position, or they can sit on the beach if that's what they prefer. And then they come back in the fall, so I have a group that's graduating, this is exam week, so the end of this week, and so they graduate in December. So we have a new group coming out in December. So that's the diploma option. And then a few years ago, we started the certificate option, so it's called Business Fundamentals, and it's meant to give people an introduction to business. So it's got 6 courses in the fall and 7 in the winter. They share the same curriculum for those 6 courses, 6 and 7 courses, so they share the same classes. And then they would graduate in April. So it is a laddering system as well, which means if they loved it or they wanted to go further, they could ladder into the diploma. Also, if someone started the diploma and they realized it was too much for them or for whatever reason, we could bring them to the certificate and graduate them out. So they've got a credential as opposed to just only having 2 terms of a diploma. We'll save questions till the end if that's okay. Okay, so I want to talk about the flex delivery mode. I think one of your pillars is about online education or access to education, if I recall from Sarah. So So we do offer this in a flex delivery mode. We also call it multimodal, and this is exactly what we're doing here, where we have people on Zoom and we have people in person. This is the way we deliver the business program. It's the only program now delivered at the Pembroke campus in this format. So students can join in person or on Zoom, whatever they feel like, whenever they feel like. They don't have to let us know. They appear one way or another. So students who cannot access or get onto campus for whatever reasons, I mean, it's about an hour drive or 45-minute drive from Renfrew, for example. The roads aren't always great. Mother Nature isn't always our friend. They can join on Zoom. I have some students from Cornwall, Kemptville, who've never shown their face, don't have any reason to ever be on campus. So we deliver the format. We've been trained to deliver it since the pandemic happened. Now we've had proper training on how to keep them engaged, keep them part of the class. The goal is to have the same experience. They just don't have to physically be on campus. So I've had students join from parking lots, doctor's appointments where they can still Zoom in while they're in the waiting room. And so they're not missing class because they have an appointment, for example. So they can join anywhere on Zoom. I've had students actually go to Mexico. I've had students, forget where that one student went for the winter, somewhere in Eastern Europe, and she did her winter semester from there. It was a little bit of time zone difference, but not impossible. So it's the most adaptable opportunity for our students, and the reason Sarah and I wanted to present to this is because this is an area where there's a lot of people who can't access post-secondary without an added cost. Going to the Woodruff campus, it's a little far for a daily drive. Pembroke also can be sometimes a little far for a daily drive. And you have a lot of rural area around you and people who may not have an option to go to post-secondary. This program has that opportunity for them. So it allows people who aren't close to college to attend, and they do get that structured environment. So it is different than online. So we have online education through our School of AC Online, and that is completely online, where it's self-directed. There's no schedule, there's no classes. You've probably maybe all done some online courses where the material is presented to you, you read the material, you do the assignment, you submit it, you hope for the best, wait for it to come back. That's online, self-directed. And we do have a School AC Online where all of our courses are available. We consider ours to be, ours is structured. They still have a timetable, they still have professors, they still have classmates, so they have that support system. So a lot of students don't do well in online because they don't have the skills to be structured yet, especially out of high school, or somebody who's just, some people are better at time management than others. So this gives them that sort of, they still have access, they can email us, they see us in class, whether it's on Zoom or in person, and they do group work so they get to know classmates, so they have people they can ask for support. So it's kind of like the best of the online world with the face-to-face world. So it's structured, so access is really important, and we do find that some students do think that they can do online, and then they end up finding out that it's a lot of self-directed learning, and they end up, for whatever reason, not doing it, forgetting about it. It's always easy to forget it when you don't log into the portal, but it's a little harder when you've got to be accountable to a professor or a class or a group project or something like that. So we do find it has been very successful for rural students, especially who were in high school, needed that support of having it. College is really meant to help support students, and that's our goal. We want people to be successful, and so we put in those supports for that, whether they're on Zoom or whether they're in person. Okay. So just a little bit about the laddering. A lot of people believe that business you have to go to a university. I was brought up in that generation. But so I want you guys to be aware that we now have laddering programs. So the fundamentals ladders into the diploma, and the diploma ladders into 3 options. Well, you can actually go into anything after, but the 3 we have a program or an articulation agreement with are an advanced diploma. So the Woodruff campus, Ottawa campus offers advanced diplomas, which are more specialized. So if somebody really loves something and they want to take a little bit more, they can go into the fourth term of the advanced diploma and take 3 more terms. So accounting, human resources, operations management, supply chain. I think there's one in global still. So they can do that. And we also have agreements to ladder into the Bachelor of Commerce and the BBA. Generally, they're getting 2 years credit for a 4-year degree, which means they can take, or 1.5 to 2 years, depending. So they can basically go into a degree and have 1.5 to 2 years worth of their credits covered. So from a cost point of view, college is much more affordable because we are government funded. So a student could hypothetically stay at home, take the diploma, then ladder into a degree, and it'd be a much, they're really only paying for 2.5 years of education at the university level. And then they could graduate with a certificate, a diploma, and a degree, all in 4.5 years. So, that never existed when I went to school. Don't want to age myself, but now that is an option. And we also can ladder the other way if somebody goes away for a degree and finds it just too hard to be away, for example. So if you hear anyone in the community who started one and then found it just too difficult for whatever reason, we can take those credits and ladder them into the diploma, right? So it works both ways. So we often have students, rural students or students from the area who have to go away for university, and then they get homesick or they just find it too hard, too challenging, and then they want to come back to the community. And I don't think enough people understand that if they get credits, we can do something with those credits. So it's not necessarily a waste of a year for them, or however long. Usually the first term's the one where we see them struggle with. Okay. So, I need my glasses for this one. This one I can read. So we provide graduates to all areas. So the one thing that other people don't understand is, what do graduates of business do? You may all be more familiar being in a business field, but we're the unseen heroes, I always say, because we are the ones sitting in the offices. We have the front desk people, but then all the rest of us are sort of behind the scenes. I said keeping the world running. We're the glue. We're in every industry, but we're not seen. So sometimes high school students or sometimes people just don't understand how they can fit into the world. So I would, welcome people to help spread that word. We need us to help all the industries, and we need graduates to be able to do that. Small business growth. Many of the business graduates from the program do have the skills to start up their own small business. I know we're from Pembroke, so I know Pembroke well. So many of the businesses downtown and in Petawawa are graduates of this business diploma, because they get all the skills they need in which to start up a business. And I can answer more on that. We've talked about giving access to education for remote areas. Keep graduates in the area. Oh, that's it. Sorry, that's another point, is that one of the things I don't know if Renfrew has found, but when students leave, sometimes they choose not to come back, right? They get a taste of the urban area, and it may take them a while. I find usually maybe late 20s, early 30s, they decide maybe they want to come back because they realize they liked it better, more than they thought, but we lose them for a period of time. So if we don't have business education or graduates coming from here and they go away to the urban areas for their education, we aren't sure if they're going to come back and provide that support for our local businesses. So one of the things that I think is important is that everybody understands that there is a role to keeping a economic vitality of a community by having business graduates to help keep that succession planning going. And as I said, in the diploma, they do get the skills in which to start up their own small business. Usually there are other factors they need as well, like some financing, but they do get the academic skills to do it. And one of the pillars that I know is important is the online, or getting people ready for online education. And so in the Algonquin College philosophy, we have to have 20% of our curriculum in a self-directed manner. So AC Online, or online, is completely self-directed. We have to have at least 20% of our curriculum in a self-directed environment. So we start off a little bit in level 1, add a little bit more in level 2, and then by level 3 they have a lot more in that self-directed. So we're training them as they go through to be a strong self-directed learner. So when they go in the workplace and their employer needs them to take online training, they've had exposure to it. They know how to do it. They know how to timetable themselves. They know how to be successful in that environment. But we do it in slow increments. So the students that are graduating right now probably have about 35% of their curriculum in self-directed, whereas in level 1 it's about 15%, right? So we actually average out 26% in the business program. Because business tends to be more techy, so we have that opportunity. The college standard is 20. So we're trying to drive people to be better self-directed online learners as they move into their careers or the workplaces that they go to. I think that's it. Oh, so what can you do to help? Or why did we think it would be good for you to hear this? So encouraging students to enroll if you know people, or if you think that from a succession planning point of view for the community, for the, to keep this area vibrant. Encouraging students to enroll in business. As I said, we do have the certificate, which is a 2-term commitment. It does give skills for people who've already have something, so we often get military releases into the business fundamentals as people who've already had a career and need just that little bit of topper up into the business field, for example. Somebody who's been in nursing or early childhood or a trade, for example. So they've already got a good skill set, but they need some business background to maybe launch their own business. The fundamentals is a great program to have for that. So spreading the word, helping people understand. As I said, high schools don't seem to have business curriculum like they did in the old days. There's very few accounting courses or marketing courses or anything. I do believe Arnprior has one course and Bishop Smith has one course, but I think for the most part business has gone away with the declining enrollments. So a lot of high school students just don't see what business would be, right? So they just don't have the exposure. And a lot of the parents also, I mean, many parents work in healthcare, for example, so they also wouldn't maybe have that exposure to help explain to their children what they could do with business. So business grads work everywhere. Businesses, insurance, banks. We have a lot up at CNL and DND. Township offices, county, economic development. I'm trying to think, they all go there everywhere I go. They run businesses, they manage businesses in town. So it's such a variety of a career that you can do with it. And I think it would be good if we could help spread the word and help that generation understand that there are viable careers, and also help parents understand that you don't have to go to university to get a good career in a business field. The diploma, actually, many of my grads are in financial management positions or advisory positions, doing very well for themselves. And I have quite a few who have gone on to do their BBA. And once again, doing very well, being promoted. So it does give them the skill sets they need to get employed and get well-paid jobs and stay in our community. And then also if providing co-op or work experiences in the summer. So if you know of businesses that would benefit from that, we do have a co-op office that would help get that. And then they're trained. They've had 2 terms of training. They've got good computer skills. They've had accounting. They've had marketing. They've had human resources. They've had a management course. They've had English, 2 English courses by then. So by the end of the 2nd term, they're well-versed in how to be basically anything you want them to do. So that's my pitch.
Amazing, Kim. Thank you for that. I enjoyed it. Any questions, comments for Kim? Pretty quiet? No? Lori, maybe?
I answered all your questions.
You know me, through you, Chair.
Yeah.
I'm never quiet. Actually, just at the tail end, you answered my question there, but I actually took a course similar to this, but through St. Lawrence many years ago when business was a thing. But is there any, in that first year where they will be leading into that co-op program, can you give me a little bit more specifics about what they would be, what the curriculum would be? Because I might be a place that could offer like a co-op
Yeah,
kind of
in
thing.
level 1 they have, some of the first courses are English 1, Math 1, Accounting 1, everything's 1. They do have a, I'm just thinking level 1, economics. Microeconomics is in level 1, which they just love. I love economics. And then in level 2, they move into, so they have a management course, they have a human resource course, they have macroeconomics, they have, just thinking level 2, marketing, did I say marketing in level 2? That's 4. They have their second English, which is a business English. So the first one's the general English all college students have to take. The second one is business, so they actually learn how to communicate more reports as opposed to essays in business. Because I don't know about you, but generally we don't write essays in the work world. It's usually reports, so we've put that in the English too. And then for those who do go on to level 3, they do take business planning. So today they have their presentations today, where they have to do a culminating, where they have to put together all of their skill sets. And they also have a law course, sorry, that's what they have. And sustainability, social sustainability, material operations, procurement and purchasing type course in level 2. So right now they're just finishing up their business plans, which are 40 to 60 page comprehensive culminating. They love me. And then they have professional sales and market research, which they learn how to do primary and secondary research. And actually it's marketing research, so they learn how to use marketing research tools. And they have advanced Excel and Access database, which they have their test today in. And what else? They teach so many things, yeah. So by the time they graduate, they can razzle and dazzle you in pretty well anything Excel and database. And as I said, they've put together a comprehensive business plan that they have to create from a seed. So any sort of expansion plans or anything like that, they've got the skills to take an idea and make it grow into a comprehensive plan. Financials, they have finance in level 2 in the winter.
That's great, thank you very
Yes.
much.
They also have
Sorry.
cost accounting.
Oh.
Yes, cost accounting. So I don't know how many of you have taken cost accounting, but break even and pricing and contribution margin and making decisions with deliverables, so.
I probably should have had that sooner.
Well, you could write the test tomorrow.
Amazing. Anyone else?
Yep.
Councillor McWhirter.
Through you, Chair. So if there was somebody out there in town that already has a college education in some other field and they decide they want to switch, do they get credit for any of the courses they've already had?
So
And can
usually
they
if they've
start-
gone to a public college, so that's, oh, sorry, were you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
And based on this, 6 courses in the fall, 7 in the winter, can they start at any time? Or would they have to start every fall? Or could they do the winter courses starting January and then finish up with the fall? Is there a specific order? Sometimes there's not, but
Very good question. So I'll answer the second one first. In Pembroke, we only offer fall intake. The Woodruff campus does offer sometimes more often intakes, just depends. The international cap has really put a shelve on many of the intakes, so I'm not sure if they are this particular winter, but they generally do offer multiple intakes. But the Pembroke campus only offers the one intake in the fall. And no, I did see if we could do winter first, but there are some prerequisites. So it doesn't go very smoothly to try and start in winter and go back to level 1. As far as if somebody has another college credential or university credential or anything, we do have, we often find that they have their English already because all colleges have an English 1 requirement. And often they may have they may have a math or a computer course depending on what they took. And then we have what's called general education. So all credential and colleges and universities have a mandated general education pool. So each credential has to have so many. So a certificate has to have 1. Diplomas have to have 3. If any of you have gone to post-secondary, you may have taken, like, I had to take science courses when I was in business, for example. That was my general education, so that breadth of knowledge. So if somebody's gone through, say, dental hygienist, those credits would count for general education in a business diploma, for example, because they were out of the scope of a business, what we call vocational courses. So usually they would get, if they went through the diploma, 3 credits, and if they went through the certificate, they'd probably get 1 credit for that. So, you're welcome.
All right, looking around. Thank you, Kim. I enjoyed it. I like the idea of you coming out here and just giving us an idea of what the success would look like once taking the program. I think that's important. I've got a daughter that's 15, and looking at what her future looks like, so understanding what the process can achieve for you it's nice. I liked it. I enjoyed it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your presentation. And if nothing else, we'll move on to the next. Thank you.
Me first, so I can get back to time.
Amazing. Okay, we'll jump along. So we're in still presentations, C2. With us today, we have the Warden of Renfrew County. He's going to give us some updates on delegations at the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference. So for the acronym, it's ROMA. Warden Emo, you have the floor.
Thank you. Take this. So we had a Queen's Park Day, November 20th, and we had 21 delegation presentations to 14 ministers. And I just brought some of the ones I thought were relevant for you. But we set the stage. What we wanted to do with the province was set the stage and say, look, we need clear definitions and expectations on your program and any programs that we apply for. And we wanted to remind them that we often weren't able to apply for some of the programs, especially around housing, because they didn't seem to want to allow counties and regions to apply, nor the service manager. And so we reminded them we're a very small market. We do not have not-for-profits that are big enough to take on large housing development. So that was one of the messages. We also wanted to make sure that we were getting complete funding and service and services. What I mean was, we want our citizens to have the exact same service expectations and results as if they were living on the on Bloor Street in Toronto, or living on Bank Street or Main Street in Ottawa. So we said geography shouldn't matter. And then we also told them Renfrew County is a small Ontario city of 107,000 people. We just happen to be spread over 7,700 square kilometers. You know, we said we've got the same problems. We've got homelessness. We've got addictions. We have some of our not-for-profits that aren't doing well. We also have some of our institutions that need more funding, whether it was for staffing, or whether it's for new programming, or whether it's capital improvement. So those were in short, those are the messages that we were taking to them. And so one of the things we talked about with them was a social enterprise partner initiative. There's a not-for-profit in the community that we're dealing with right now that we would like to bring in some of our folks who are on either in our Heart Hub model or on Ontario Works, because we wanted to get them some part-time paid experience. We want to get them some hands-on skill development, some soft skills training, because some of our folks aren't able to communicate properly or as well as they want to. They also have some issues about reliability, and then also about teamwork. And some folks aren't able to work 40 hours a week, so we would try and work something out like that. And then just the confidence building. We also talked about the need to change Ontario Works. The minimum, because after a certain period of time or a certain amount of money earned, then their benefits stop. And if you want to discourage somebody, the best way to do that is to take away their dental and make it difficult for them to report how much money they were making. We also then moved on to strengthening rural tourism, and we talked about the municipal accommodation tax, and what a struggle it was to put it in place because of the definitions, and also that we have a much smaller base in our community for that. We wanted also to have we said it lacked clarity and consistency, but we felt it was a good investment tool because then the regional tourism organization, which in this instance is Ottawa Valley Tourism Association, could then invest in larger products. A specific example was, I talked about this community, and when you look at Whitewater, Horton, Amherst, Bromley, Greater Madawaska, and the town of Renfrew itself, it makes sense that this group could go together to with a MAT tax, because what would happen would be that 50% of it could be designated to OVTA, and they could then invest it in marketing. 50% could remain here. So the 50% remaining here could be, through a board, divided up. Maybe 25% of that would be for new initiatives. 25% of that would be for existing initiatives to broaden either broaden their own messaging or broaden the product base that they're working on. Another 50 could be towards a mass communication and signage program. Those were just quick examples, but the MAT tax itself, the application process is quite complicated, and so that was the message that we're giving to them. We also talked about the RTO, which is OTO, the Ontario Highlands Tourism Organization. It was funded so it covers 24,000 square kilometers, and this region contributes $660 million into the province's coffers in spending from tourism. So what we found was that it was initially funded in 2010 when it was established at $909,000. Then it went up to $1 million, and then it dropped to $950 in 2016, and in 2019 it dropped to $766,000. So we're the biggest tourism organization, and we're funded the least. So we've been talking about that for a couple of years. So we just brought that back to them again, saying, look, you've got to address this in some fashion. We also dealt with paramedics, and then one of the things is new for us is we're taking a look at what is known as the old Haley's site in Ross Township, and we are taking a very strong look at forming an industrial park there. There's about 90 acres that we're focusing on right now, and it's not part of the mine itself. It's off to one side, and so we're asking for the provincial government to, because the ground is clean. They've done an environmental assessment, so we're asking the government to give that to us for a reasonable price. Natural gas close by. There's three-phase power there, with Highway 417 extending up to Bruce Street. Then that puts it that much closer. We think it's ideally situated. Also, the mine itself should be reopened, and that would be part of our plan. Would be to start looking for partners to open the mine up again, because it's a critical mineral. Magnesium is a critical mineral, and both federal and provincial government are focusing on access to that and developing those markets, or developing markets for that mineral. And so we think it's a path forward for our whole region. The idea of the industrial park is that it's already zoned for industrial. It's quite secluded, and some of the dirtier industries that people don't want in their neighborhood would be ideally located there. So we've had some conversations with some of the, I'll call them machine shops, manufacturing from outside of the area that supplies CNL, the Chalk River Labs, about locating to that area. So that's one of the things that we're talking about. So the whole site's 700 acres, and it's being remediated, and we're saying that it makes sense for the site to be rejuvenated. We think it would increase any number of jobs, and that was one of the presentations we made. Another one was the electrical grid in Renfrew County. The infrastructure is quite dated, and we don't feel that Hydro One has kept up to it. We've had a couple of large projects get turned away because they couldn't access enough electricity on the grid, nor the grid could handle it. Some of them were biomass projects where they would have created electricity and put them back on. So we have two that we're chasing right now. So what we've said is there's clean tech and agri-tech and bio-based manufacturing that's been bypassing Renfrew County for some time. And now we're also talking to them about Roseburg forest products. They're talking about putting $135 million into a cogeneration plant, which would then take them off the grid. So that would put 15 megawatts back into service for the Pembroke area. It also would consume about 145,000 metric tons of forest waste right now. We have about 450,000 tons of forest waste that's not being used. We also have a problem in that we have small pulpwood and a lot of low-value wood that can't be used right now, but need to be taken out of the forests to make sure the forests are healthy. So this is a very significant project that we think makes a lot of sense. It also allows Roseburg to drive their costs down considerably. The other one is Golden Lake Power, which is a project by Ben Holcomb. And it's a project of about $65 million. And it, at the same time, would use up, it would add 13.5 megawatts. So they would produce 15 megawatts and keep 1.5 on site, which would take them off the grid, and they would add 13.5, excuse me, to the grid in our community. So those are the kinds of things that we're chasing right now. They would each generate, I think it totaled, between the two operations, they would generate probably 60 to 65 new employees. Holcomb would, if this came into play, would also invest about another $120 million in their sawmill and sorting, using a lot of AI. So they would not lose the workforce, but they would increase their capacity. So one investment triggers the other one. So we're very hopeful of the government listening to those, and it would also secure for us the 200 jobs at Roseburg, and then the 200 and some odd jobs at Holcomb's as well. Laverne Heidemann and Sons is looking at a biomass project as well. I don't have any details on that. So, we are working hard to find a means of keeping a traditional industry here. One of the really neat things about Ben Holcomb is that only about 5% of their lumber goes to the U.S. They took a look at the U.S. market years ago, and with the softwood tariff wars that have been going on since about 2006, I think, they decided they were going to wean themselves from the American market. So they're insulated to a large degree. The other producers in our community are also in the process of weaning themselves from the American market. So the Americans may be shooting themselves in the foot because they're, short of going into their national forests and cutting everything down, they could have run into a lumber problem if they're not careful. We then presented on something more close to home as the 40 units at Bonshire Manor. We're still pursuing that. We have at least 2 modular home builders who are interested in coming in and dropping 40 models on that site. So we have again, it's a matter of the provincial government freeing up investment monies for that. So we, and again, the county thanks the town of Renfrew for their cooperation in that. And for those in this room, what has happened is the town has foregone its fees for that project. It's also cooperated in developing the site plan and then confirming that there was the availability of electricity, wastewater, and water and natural gas. So that's gone a long way. And again, that partnership, if you will, is supposed to reassure the provincial government that we're meeting their conditions for investment. And that's what they've said. All levels of government have to buy in. Yeah, we've got all levels of government buying in. We just don't have the problems buying in at this point. So we're still working on that. And last, there's lots of other ones, but last, that's most important, I think, is that we have talked to the province, and we think there will be an announcement about Highway 417 expansion early. I have a Zoom meeting set for January, early in January, and we're talking to them about the timeline. I believe I know what the timeline is, but I'm not at liberty to say at this point. So we did talk to them about the needs. We highlighted there are 11 signalized intersections which are accident prone from Meath Hill up. We talked about the need for some answers around Cobden with the BEI subdivision going in on the backside of center side of Cobden, in behind Cobden Public School. They're expanding. I think they're adding another 60 or 70 units this year, and then they're going to continue. We talked about the glut of traffic between Meath Hill and Deep River. So what we're suggesting to them is you take the 11 signalized intersections and turn those into 2-lane roundabouts, similar to what is in Saskatchewan and out in Alberta. And there are some here in Ontario and southwestern Ontario. Then we also talked about 2+1 passing lanes in some of those sections as well, because right now only about 19% of the 110 kilometers between Renfrew and Deep River has passing lanes. And anybody that drives that on a regular basis, I actually bought a camera for my car so I can start showing people some of the really strange things you see every day on that highway. So that's very quickly, those are the ones I think that would be of interest to you as an economic development committee.
Great.
Forward all 21 if you were interested, but I'm not sure you would be.
Thank you, Warden. I enjoyed that. Any questions, comments? Maybe I can pick your brain for a minute then, since I have you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Really neat things. So I know that these are just delegations, opportunities. Any response from any of the ministers when you're sitting in these rooms? Are they liking what's being proposed? Are you getting any immediate feedback, or is it?
Yeah, what we do is it's similar to this, where the minister comes in with 2 staff, and we have about 15 people, and I do we have a half hour. I do about a 12-minute presentation, and then we pitch ideas back and forth. So just on the Ross Mindview site, what they did right away said, look, and we had Minister of Natural Resources, Minister of Red Tape Reduction, because there's 3 ministries involved in the Ross Mindview site. So if you want to see something get snarled up, that's the perfect recipe. So the Minister of Red Tape has agreed to convene a meeting with the Deputy Ministers to try and expedite it. The Minister of Natural Resources directed us to 2 conferences where the mining industry comes together that we weren't aware of, and offered to assist us in putting up a table so we'd have a presence so we could start looking for prospective investors. So that was 2 of the immediate things. With housing, Graydon Smith, the minister, asked 5 very specific questions, which we're sending information back for. He was a little astounded that we have 5, we have several projects, but we can't go anywhere because we have no money. And MTO, prior to the meeting, said, look, we have some timelines that we're just finalizing. You'll like them. I want to meet with you in January. My proposal to them in January would be that they would come here to Renfrew and hold a day-long event where they would put up their phone boards and whatever and show everybody again what the highway's going to look like, then talk to us about the timelines. I suspect the timelines are favorable to something happening within the next 2 years, to having a shovel in the ground from the next 2 years. So that's but we should know, I'm hoping January they'll allow me to speak about it, or they'll come here as we're asking and present to the community, and then that way it's not me bringing the message and everybody saying, oh, you're saying maybe. Well, that's as far as I can go because I'm not a minister. So those were the two. The hydro grid thing, I hung around the next day and went back to Queen's Park and got into another meeting with somebody to try and I want to get to the board of directors of Hydro One. So that's our next route. The ministry is going to work with us on it, and IESO as well. IESO, coincidentally, about 3 days after that, sent out a questionnaire, which we forwarded out to others, asking about power consumption and projection of uses in the future. So we'll see. So it did trigger some actions, yes. Nobody said, I'll give you a check. That never happens. What you do is you collect every business card and just bombard them with emails so they agree to meet with you again.
Yeah, thank you, Warden, for the follow-up. Yeah. Okay. Going to move on. Section D, which is development and economic updates. So, Municipal Property and Economic Development Coordinator, Jacob Collins, you've got something for us.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Chair. A little bit of a different approach than the last couple meetings. I don't have a ton of information, but hoping to open it up to more of a discussion for the floor. So I've met with a few business owners downtown and also had a meeting with the chair to discuss a couple things. So the first slide is kind of a discussion for a spring event downtown, something similar to craft beer, maybe something to get lots of people downtown for a day. There's not really a ton of events in the spring, so that was what one of the local business owners downtown was thinking, was what could we do. So one of the ideas we came up with was a maple and market day. Have a lot of local maple syrup makers and different vendors kind of set up downtown, similar to the craft beer fest at Low Square, and have a fun day and make it something that we could do year after year and try and grow it and build on it. So I don't know if there's any other ideas, or if you guys want to talk about that or what you think. And
Yeah, we want to talk about it, but let's get through the report, and I think then we'll talk at everything as a whole at the end of it. Is that okay?
Okay, sure. So the next slide is, I discussed this with Chair Cebulski. A rough pitch for the idea would be Ride Renfrew. And we kind of discussed trying to target, we've got fantastic trails, not just the Algonquin Trail and the Mattaway Trail, but also the other biking trails in that kind of up behind the MyFM Center. So I think we really need to try and target cyclists, motorbike riders, ATVs, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles to try and kind of lure them downtown, because I think right now it's just kind of, pass through, get gas at the closest spot and keep going. But I think we could really target them and try and kind of generate a lot of business through that endeavor. So kind of had an idea to partner with maybe the BIA, the county to some extent, and then some local and provincial tourism guides, magazines, websites. And I think actually, Mr. Schroen, correct me if I'm wrong, the museum is a stop for motorcycles or cyclists now, and Kelly was talking about it?
Yeah, we had a meeting. We had a meeting with Ride the Highlands in April 2025, and so the museum is now on the map, and we were given a motorcycle parking sign which will be up this spring.
Yeah, so I think just little things like that would really help us and kind of get our name out there, and, you know, people that might not know it or just pass through might see that and think, well, I'm going to stop in for half an hour, and spend some money here. So I think that would be great. And then the third slide is just land sales and real estate update. So CBRE has been excellent to work with, and not sure if it was today or tomorrow, but we're officially launching our first property for sale with them, and that's going to be 436 Lisgar Avenue. So I did also print out a couple booklets of samples of what they've got online, so I'll circulate those and you guys can have a look. And we've had some interest from multiple developers on different properties. As well, we're going to have a report coming today, actually, to closed on a potential purchase for development on one of our properties that's already surplus. So hopefully that goes well. And that's kind of all I have. Just hopefully we can discuss some of those points and come up with some good ideas.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. I'll open it up to the floor, and I know that we've got lots here. So this is kind of the point where I was hoping maybe we can start putting a few goalposts in the sand. It's only 2 ideas that are presented right now, and we're always open for other ideas, but I would like us to at least start chasing, even if it's something small, something that we are working towards and putting our name on, whether it's one of the 2 ideas that was just presented or if there's another idea. We've been at this for a year now, and we haven't really owned our skin as far as what we're really working towards outside of information. So if the floor has any input on maybe the 2 ideas that were presented, or potential later on, we can add some more, but I'd open it up for discussion. Yeah, Alini?
Through you, Chair. Looking at it, there's a couple of things, right? For the Maple one, I do believe I've shared before with the town that the Barbecue Fest was interested in coming to town and being a great event for town. They were selecting between Calabogie and us, because those are the 2 leads. So that would be not just something that makes our town pop back in the map, but also brings people from outside in, right? So that's the main goal. Then on the Renfrew ride, I believe we talked about this before, in not limiting only to Renfrew area, but I know Poignac's across the board with Quebec, but at the same time they have the PPG and they have a pretty great strategy in regards to riders and the things that they do around it. And those are tracks that are connected to Renfrew. Why aren't we doing something with them to make sure that those guys are also crossing and taking advantage of what we have on this side?
Okay. I'm going to back up. You said barbecue?
Ribs Fest.
Ribs Fest, okay.
So Ribs Fest, I did send a contact towards town to make sure that they were looking at getting out of one of their spots in Ottawa, and they were looking for a good spot to go, and I've shared with them that the Valley would be a good place to go.
Okay. And then obviously the comment for can you just elaborate on the Quebec trail system so that Mr. Collins can write that down as an idea?
Absolutely. So the Outaouais, so the MRC tourist side, they have a great program for the PPG, which is the trail for riders. And they've asked many times to see if they can connect with us because it does go through Renfrew side. So why aren't we sitting down with them and making a bigger plan that we can make sure that the leads also go both sides of the river? Because they have a plan in place that it's great. They have a map with which stops to go, how to go about, which restaurants. We should probably not reinvent the wheel, but use what's been successful on that side.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other input on this? Yes, Wanda?
I'm sure that if, once I bring this to the board, it's something that the BIA would be interested in partnering in, as we've already did the market this year, so we've already got contacts with some great vendors. And then as far as the Renfrew rides, it will go along with something that we'll be talking about in a minute that we're doing, so I think we'd be interested for sure.
Okay. Any comment? Yeah, Councillor McWhirter?
Through you, Chair. I know the local motorcycle club is partnered with the town out at the info center. They're currently doing, this is their third year for a ride to raise funds for the local legions. They pick 4 or 5 legions and they do a ride and they go to different legions. We start in Renfrew at the info and then back up there. I don't know if that's something the BAA might be interested in partnering. It really depends on weather. I know the first year there was 100 bikes, 100 people from all over, and last year was 38, but it was cold and rained all the whole time. But they did manage to raise quite a bit of money for all the legions, so it might be something to look at, if you're interested.
Okay. Yeah, Wanda?
Can you just send me the information on all that, Clint, and then I can present it to the board?
I'm the president, so
Okay, perfect.
talk to me.
Thanks.
All right. Here's my take on it. I like listening to how everyone wants to contribute. That's great. But I want to set a goal. And with respect to Renfrew, I don't want to look at us as, the centerpiece. I kind of want us to be the start and finish place. And therefore, that goes really good for our economy. So to the museum's point, if that's a recognized place for motorcycles to come, if it's a place to park and then they can do their trip to Calabogie or Eganville or whatever, as long as they're starting and finishing Renfrew, therefore we might get the food, we might get some shopping. As far as snowmobiling goes, the trails that come through town, they're not lavish. It's not what snowmobilers want. But we've got great park and ride areas. Again, we've got the museum. We've got a way of showing that we've got restaurants and accommodations for the individuals to say, let's trailer to Renfrew, let's ride the trails outside of Renfrew, so partnering with Calabogie and the Griffith Snowmobile Club and all these other entities, but making sure that people come and go from Renfrew. That's kind of what I'm trying to achieve with this mindset and how we can advertise Renfrew as the place to start from, or the place to finish at. When it comes to cycling, and again, I'll use the museum again as its hot spot. There's a 400-kilometer, an 800-kilometer, and 1,200-kilometer long bike packing system that comes through the town of Renfrew. It comes up from Charlotte Lake, through Calabogie, into Renfrew, and on the maps, the highlighted places are Swinging Bridge. It's the museum. It's a spot where they have to go, so they're coming through Renfrew. But we're not getting the word out well enough to everyone to say this is a spot to start. You can go ride Calabogie, you can ride Eganville, you can ride these areas, come start here. So that's what I want to understand in a way, if we can put something together that we can network, whether, as Mr. Collins pointed out, whether it's magazines, websites, or guides. We want to say that Renfrew's the place that we have safe place to park, safe place to lock your bike, great destinations for motorcycles, great restaurants, and great visuals. So I would like to brainstorm to the next level of not just saying, let's partner with the BIA or the county. What can we do as a group to get the ball rolling down to really make Renfrew attractive? That's my goalpost I'd like to start with. And is there any thoughts on that? Alini?
Through you, Chair, have we brought in the clubs to talk about it?
This is day one.
Okay, so I think one of the things would be, let's bring in the clubs, talk to them. I know it sounds silly, but gas stations is a big thing for riders, and we have plenty with access here. So why not bring the clubs and say, listen, what will make you guys start here and end here? Ask the customer first, right? Let's see the feedback that they bring, and if they buy into the idea, they will tell everyone that it's buying their pass that this is the start point.
So that's a great idea. It's a great suggestion. Is there any others that we can throw on the table? Nothing? Okay. Deputy Clerk, can you help me out here?
I just wanted to clarify if there was any motion that you wanted to bring forward in regards to inviting clubs or anything specific. It could be to assign certain committee member to bring something forward to the next meeting, anything like that?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. Like, we have a mandate that we have to work within, and we can't make the ultimate decision. We do have to present something to council, but us as a group, as individuals, can try and make presentations happen like happened today. And I do love hearing from the warden, but it's very high level. It'd be nice to hear from groups and areas that we can maybe join together, and at least put something together that's beneficial. We can't really direct Mr. Collins to do too much, because that comes from council, but we can certainly put some items together. So would anyone be willing, like Councillor McWhirter, you're president of a particular motorcycle group, would you be willing to speak to that at a future meeting on what possibilities could look like from the motorcycle world?
Yeah, I could do that, or I've got one guy who's really that motivated and gung-ho, and he would be a great guy to be an ambassador for something. He likes to, he has time on his hands, he's retired, and he likes to run with ideas. He's really good that way for fundraising. So I could do something. I was just thinking, first things first, we're just sort of preliminary here. I was thinking maybe, he lives out of Calabogie, maybe tie into the Highland Ride. We're very familiar with that. There's actually 3 or 4 routes that they have outlined on their map that you can take different routes. Maybe that's something we could set up with BIA and the other little areas for Run the Map, and work with Calabogie and do something in unison. But I'm just thinking here out loud, so you'll have to leave me some time to put something together.
Yeah, that's my intent. If there's a couple of routes that can be, again, we start in Renfrew, do a 150-kilometer ride and end in Renfrew. That's the type of thing that we're trying to chase, Renfrew, right? I'll reach out. I've got some connections in the cycling community. Obviously, there's some individuals that have moved into town in the last couple of years that have moved here solely because of our trail system. They've spoken out with their needs and wants, so I can reach out and maybe have some of them come here and give us an example of what cycling looks like across the pond, or even internationally. There's a few that come through that ride internationally and then talk about what well-developed trails look like and what the expectations are for Renfrew. And then I have a connection in the snowmobiling industry, and we'll try and put something together if the group is interested in something like this, that is, which it seems like there's some interest. Okay, and then just before we turn off this topic, was the other item, which to me sounded like a one-day event for the Maple. What was the Maple and Market? A one-day event is an amazing thing. I'm sure we can reach out to the business owner, find out what other type of information they could provide. But the BIA has some strong help potentially for a one-day event like this.
We have, because we had the Heart of Renfrew Market this year, so I've got some great contacts for vendors for the market.
All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry, we're just discussing formalities and whether a motion could be put on the table just for a little bit of direction. So if anyone that's out there would be willing to potentially put some words together as a motion, just giving a little bit of direction. Yeah, go ahead, Deputy.
If I may make a suggestion based on your conversation, from what I can gather that you were looking to direct. So I have here that the Economic Development Advisory Committee assigned Councillor McWhirter to speak with the members of the motorcycling community and Chair Cybulski to speak with members of the cycling community and bring back further information to the next committee meeting. Or something along that lines. You're welcome to adjust it as needed.
Councillor McWhirter.
I could, through Chair. maybe I'll take this opportunity to invite the BIA and possibly Janine, who's programmer for, lots to do with the events, to our next meeting, which is at the Algonquin Center on Saturday, the 17th of January, 1 o'clock. If you guys would be available, and then maybe we could get together and come up with some ideas. If you think you might, or if, unless you can think of Janine, somebody else who would suit me. Okay. I hate to do that on a Saturday for you, so, but maybe come up with some ideas, to preliminary, just to, because all the guys will be there, and they're very gung-ho, good to go. So, I got started.
Thank you, Councillor McWhirter.
Through you, Chair, and this is not my role anymore, and I'm just going to chuck this out there, but I think there's a lot of other businesses in town that would be impacted by this other than just the BIA potentially, and that it might be worth our while to include a representative from the Chamber of Commerce or something like that that would be thinking more broadly about the effects on the town and how it might. Anyway, sorry, my 2 cents.
Well, and that's great, and my intent is to follow this conversation up in the next meeting and potentially for several meetings to hone in on a proper objective that we can present to council so that we can get some direction on how to really proceed. So if this is still, if it's information gathering that we're working on, but focusing in on a goalpost and a goal, that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve right now so that we can give direction to council. So would there be any of my 4 others out there that'd be willing to move a motion? I see Lisa and Erica right there too. Councillor McWhirter, you'd be willing to move that motion? Okay. As read from the Deputy Clerk? Okay. Thank you. And do I need to vote on that? Okay. Yeah. Erica, at this time, just we have to have a vote. Do you mind turning your camera on, please? Amazing, thank you. So through the conversation, do you want to just read the motion one more time before I...
That the Economic Development Advisory Committee assign Councillor McWhirter to speak with the members of the motorcycling community and Chair Sobalski to speak with the members of the cycling community and bring back further information regarding events to the next committee meeting.
All right, that's been moved by Councillor McWhirter. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. It's all in favor, no opposed. Thank you for that. Thank you for the information, Mr. Collins. And we're going to move into our community updates. The downtown BIA update. Board member, is Lisa going to be presenting today? Oh, no. Okay. All right.
Right. So you may have noticed the new O'Brien Road sign. So we've updated that, brought it up current. We did that in September. So when you're going out or coming in through O'Brien Road, have a big look at the sign on the right if you're going out, left if you're coming in. We recently just did a downtown rent for coupon book, and we handed them out during the Light Up the Square event and during the Santa Claus parade. So we handed out 600 booklets, and in the booklets feature all different businesses with different savings or specials and some of the community groups. They're valid from January 1st to March 31st, so it's a way to bring business downtown during those quiet months after Christmas. So they've been very well received. Our next big thing that we are in the process of doing right now is we are doing a downtown map. So the downtown map will obviously showcase our downtown. It will have all of our businesses listed on it. We're looking at including the museum, some of the trails, because we'd like to highlight things all to come downtown. The map will be distributed to visitor information centers all across Ontario. We have a partnership with OVTA where the map will be handed out at OTV of the events. We will have it in certain businesses. We will be creating some great partnerships outside of Area 2, like something like Bowinter Caves, things like that we would like to do dual partnerships with. So we're actually meeting with the designer for the map on Monday. So we're hoping to get this done and ready for spring, and our members will have sponsorship opportunities on it as well to feature their businesses on the map. So that's a big project we're working on. Lisa and I attended the Ottawa Valley Tourism Conference, I believe it was in November, and it was very valuable for us to be there. We made some great contacts and potential partnerships. And there was some excellent marketing opportunities through OVTA that we have and will be taking advantage of in 2026. So we've got an event coming up called Downtown Run for Christmas, and it is on December 12th, and it's where all the businesses stay open late. And we will be, any customer who spends $25 or more in any downtown business will send us in their receipt, and they will have a chance to win one of 3 downtown shopping sprees. Then we have our 12 days of Christmas. So from December 13th to December 24th, any customer who spends $25 or more in any of our businesses, send us in the receipt, and we're going to be giving away $100 downtown shopping spree every day. So that money goes back into our downtown. And then the last one is we were approached by Jeff Scott from Scott's Hardware. He wanted to do something community-based this year for his window. So we've partnered with Jeff and the Food Bank, who are both members of the Downtown BA, to fill the window with Toys for the Fruit this year. There's 300 families already on or 300 children already on the list that require toys. So the hope is to fill the window for Toys for the Fruit.
Amazing. Thank you. Any questions? All right. Moving on to the Renfrew Area Chamber Conver update. We have Alini.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Couple things. So we just had our Pinnacle of Business Awards, and it was great. We actually had to cap the attendance because we sold out on tickets, which was amazing. Our winners were from across the valley, which also shows the interest on everyone on getting the area to grow. We are about to send renewals out as of this week, next week. So watch your emails, please. Chamber sticker is an activity that we started a while ago, and this year we sold over $1,000 in tickets, so that is pretty great, and we plan on continuing the activation. Again, it's local businesses that put together a package. People buy a sticker, and they have a chance to win that package. So. Budget, we are starting our conversations now. We want to get 2026 well settled and prepared for our conversation, especially with the town coming up. We had our In a Bind event, or our after hours event. That's something that we started this year. It was great to see new members participating. And again, when speaking about new members, the chamber grew almost a little over 20% of their base this year, which was incredible. Couple pushes, our student made a great step towards it. And finally, we have a few more events coming up that we're working on. We're going to continue with the after hours, but we're also working with the Wolves to do one of the after hours to be a little more on the fun side and involving the community and our kids from the community. So the chamber plans on continuing with these events and continuing connecting businesses. The connections that we've built this year were pretty significant. The after hours events are meant for businesses to shake hands and know what services we provide within our town boundaries. And that is it. But if anyone has any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, amazing. Thank you for the update. Now we're going to move into F, which is items of information. I'm going to thank you for being patient over here before coming across, but we'll go to F1.1, which is McDougall Museum, bringing history to life, and our museum archive specialist, Glenn Sherrill.
All right, thank you. I've added a small PowerPoint, and so I just want to say that the information is the same as previously shared on the agenda, but shared during the meeting over PowerPoint with additional details, and the slide presentation will be shared on the post agenda. So I am going to be talking about bringing heritage to life, but I wanted to add a couple other things since it's the first opportunity I've had to present to the Economic Development Committee. So we have some kind of umbrella things happening at the museum to kind of strengthen its role in O'Brien Park. The first would be some main level space changes. The main level is currently the only level that's accessible to all at the museum. In 2024, we added a visitor information center there. It was pretty small. We've expanded it a little bit in 2025, including putting some maps up like Ride the Highlands and the Ottawa Valley tourism map and cycling map for people. We've added a central service desk that's outside. Staff used to be in an office. We've added a new gift shop area that we piloted last year. And in 2026, we're going to be changing the office into a multi-purpose room that we could use for programming, research requests, cataloging if we need some space to do it, whatever we can basically use it for. And we're looking at doing some exterior minor upgrades next summer, maybe adding a picnic table, moving a millstone closer to the entrance for some visual appeal. Next slide, please. We're also expanding visitor services over the last couple of years. We've added some new seating on all levels if people need to take a break. There's lots to look at. We added a bicycle rack outside in 2024 that does get some use. We do get a number of cyclists through related to the maps. It's a popular spot. We are training our staff with OVTA on visitor services. The Chamber and I met with Ride the Highlands last spring and talked about the services that they offer and how we could make the museum more attractive. So we do have a motorcycle parking sign that will be put up, and I'm looking at getting some lockers. That's something they suggested for people that travel with helmets. So we could actually have some lockers where people could put something like a helmet inside and secure for them. Hope to have free Wi-Fi up in 2026 and some expanded refreshments. People who are cycling there are coming in and buying water. Is there something else we can do to raise a little more revenue? Next slide, please. We've also, starting last year, to increase the programming. Generally, it was mostly a static museum with one-off events. Last year, we decided to do Saturday at the Mill in July and August. Something could be small, something a little larger. They're interactive visitor experiences or community engagement events, and we're trying to encourage repeat visitation. Next slide. And digital engagement. So this is what I was really brought here for. So part of the problem with the museum is accessibility on the second level and the basement level. So I went seeking an alternative way to deliver some services for people that are at the museum and cannot get up to those floors or down to those floors. Through research, through an article, through the OHTO, I found Bloomberg Connects was an organization that Cloyne Museum used on Highway 41. So I did research for them, and they're a charity that supports global access to arts and culture. They offer free professional services. They're a global network. They have art galleries and museums on their app that are represented across the world. They provide interactive content, and they're there to enhance a visitor experience. So I did spend about 2 months kind of researching them and talking to them, and they were talking to me and deciding if we were a good fit together, and they agreed to take us on in this project at no cost to us other than staff time. Next slide, please. So the first project we're going to be doing is a digital guide for the museum. The goal is to have expanded exhibit access. We bought a couple tablets, so if people are at the museum and they don't have their own phone, they can work with our staff on a couple of these tablets to explore what's available up on the second floor of the basement level. People that have phones can do it by themselves. We'll have lots of interactive digital content. We're doing a lot of audio interviews with local residents that can support some of the artifact stories that we want to talk about. We're highlighting about approximately 30 objects in the collection. That's going to be part of this first digital guide. You can also visit the museum from anywhere in the world, which is nice. We're closed during the winter, so it allows access then. And the app and technology supports 48 languages. So if we get somebody in from Germany or Japan and their English isn't great, they can flip the app into the language of their choice and get a better experience. Next slide, please. Once we finish this current one, which should be done in January 2026, we can do some other future projects. There's no real, you use it and you're done, so we can add to it. So we're looking at, maybe working with community groups. Railway was one that's been brought up. Music is another one that's been brought up. And again, we, as part of the Bloomberg Connects project, they provided us with a bunch of audio equipment and 5-week audio training workshop for 3 people with the town. And so we have some better knowledge and experience in collecting audio now. We can create themed walking tours. I'm looking at doing one of the second shoot on the industrial and hydroelectric heritage of the area. And it's going to help expand our interpretive reach. Next slide. And at the same time, the Renfrew and District Historical and Museum Society is looking at upgrading their collections management database. It's going to be visually media-rich catalog records. And again, it could be accessed by somebody across the world or somebody who's at the museum and has a particular interest in an object that we don't have any information on there. Then there'll be ways for them to access that information. This is kind of what it looks like when you're going through it. It's tile-based. And for this example, I just have been using images of all of the historical plaques around town that I've been cataloging. And next slide. So in final summary, I think these initiatives are aligning with Renfrew's economic development strategy by strengthening the town's infrastructure, creating new revenue streams, and leveraging digital tools to expand reach. Hopefully they encourage visitor spending, support local businesses, and position Renfrew as a vibrant cultural destination, driving sustainable economic growth. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Lots of great information there, and good, and and I'll just jump. It seems like we're, between all the groups and all the information, we're crossing over in a few areas. There seems to be good crossover, so there's some good work initiatives happening, and if we can compile and put our finger on something, it could really work out well for us. So encouraging. Any questions? Eleni?
Through you, Chair. A couple questions. One is, how much is it for someone to use the app and check the museum? Like if I'm in Germany, do I pay to use the app, and how much of that goes towards the museum?
There's no cost to download the app and use it. It's all free. And there's no revenue generation for the museum. Using the app, it's just providing access and enriched content.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Our last item for information is review and recently completed town events. So our community outreach and program specialist, Ms. Fraser.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So I'm just speaking to a couple of the events that we just held this past weekend. So we had a vigil on Friday evening, December 5th. That's for National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. The date that is recognized is December 6th, but because we had the Santa Claus parade on and the somberness of this event, we decided to move the vigil back a day to recognize it. So we had that vigil downtown just in front of Low Square here. And it just, we have Bernadette McCann House. They came, they said the 14 names of the women that were killed at Polytechnique in 1989. They spoke to some recent statistics as well of violence against women, and that it's still very prevalent. So very somber event, very important event though. So the next day we had the Santa Claus parade. We had a lot of local sponsors which helped offset all of the costs to this, so the town does not incur any costs for the Santa Claus parade, which is lovely. Businesses came out in full support with their floats, so I'm sure there was a few people that were either on a float participating or watching. So it was a great event, and the streets were lined, so it was nice. There was a lot of local residents, but also from the surrounding areas as well watching that. So those are the past two events that we just had this past weekend, and our next big event is for Year's Eve. Councillors, you guys have attended this the last couple of years. It's a morning event, it's for families, and we do a countdown to noon so that kids are awake and they can celebrate New Year's Eve. So it is popular, they've done it every year. We've got some skating, magic show, a breakfast, pizza party, face painting, all the fun stuff that the kiddos love. So that's upstairs in the hall at my FM Center, 8:30 a.m. until noon for the countdown, and all families are invited to participate in that. It is free. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the update and always the immense amount of effort it takes to do this. So any questions or comments? Councillor McWhirter.
For Janine, will you be looking for help with breakfast from council members such as Councillor Sobalski?
Yes, please. That would be lovely.
Councillor Sobalski, I just signed us up.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. I will change my flight plans. All jokes aside, I'll do my best to be there. All right. The final one in here is F1.3, which is upcoming town events. Not again, I apologize. We grouped you into two things there, so no, we're going to pass that one now. Upcoming discussion requests. So opportunity, open table for us to maybe throw a couple items on the table that we want to discuss in the future, or even just a bit today. Is there anything out there? Not hearing anything today. I'm not seeing anything from Lisa or Erica. Give them a chance. Councillor McWhirter.
Chair, I'm just wondering if Jacob, if there's, maybe we could, next meeting, have an update on motel, if there's any interest or where that's going. Or I know it's a big question in town with people inviting guests in, especially over the holidays, wondering where to put them.
Absolutely. I believe that is an item that, Jacob is nodding his head, so yeah, we'll get an update on that, part of his report. Okay, so if there's no other chatting on that, I will move on to H, which is the committee minutes. Again, for this portion, we'll make sure that the cameras are on for our online representatives, but that the Economic Development Advisory Committee confirm the minutes of the committee meeting dated September 9th, 2025. Can I have a mover? Councillor McWhirter, is there any discussion or amendments to the meeting minutes? Not seeing any, so all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Upcoming meetings of committee. So the next regular scheduled meeting of the Economic Development Advisory Committee is scheduled for January 13th, 2026 at 10 a.m. I'm going to just pass it over to Deputy Clerk. We're going to just speak to our meeting schedule for 2026. Let you know that the schedule has been modified from previous discussions just due to council, so I'll let Deputy Clerk speak to that quickly.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So you can see attached to the agenda is the 2026 meeting schedule. So this is what has been passed through by council as well as based on your terms of reference. So just to note, the committee is to meet the second Tuesday of every month, which you'll see on your calendar here. Just a note also that there will be no meetings in July as we do take a break for the summer there, and that the last meeting will be held on September 8th. This committee does follow the same term as the current council, so that will be the last meeting. Then we move into elections. At that point, the new term of council will determine all committees and subcommittees at that point based on their goals and objectives.
Amazing. So thank you for that update. Just to give some more background before we close out, we did discuss a little bit reduced schedule as compared to every month. We were fighting for content at the time. At this point, I'd like to open up the idea. Do we want to maintain the schedule that's proposed as of now, one every month, or would we like to potentially consider a motion to amend the scheduling? Deputy Clerk?
So just to note that on a procedural end, because this is something that has been approved by council, the committee could put forward a motion to council to amend the dates for that. The other option as well is the meetings can always be canceled on the call of the chair within outside of the 48-hour notice if the committee feels that there isn't enough content or would like to wait until the next meeting.
So just quick, leave it as is. Am I okay to say that we're okay as is with one per month going forward at this time? Okay. I'm not seeing any objections, so that's perfect. There's no motions or anything to be carried there. I just wanted to kind of get the temperature of the room. And thank you for everyone. That was exciting that we ended up getting to do this meeting. There's a lot of information in there. So at this time, I'll adjourn the meeting at 11:40.